Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Crafty Gal, me Shamila's run through of another Celebr8 project which I finished for this month. It's with the You Are Amazing paper range and the words speak for itself. This paper was just simply amazing. When I initially got the pack, I thought I was going to do cards with them. I sat down and I opened the paper like I normally do, and I put, because you get two sheets of a kind in a pack, and I would put the one, put them together showing both sides of the paper, and I laid them out on the table, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is just too gorgeous to make cards with. The leftovers I'll probably end up using for cards, but I had to make something special with it. And when Michelle van Wyk asked us to do a little tutorial, I thought, you know, this would be the perfect project for an online tutorial because the paper is beautiful. I found this tutorial by, I think his name is Paul Ford, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought, wow, that's just easy enough for me to explain to people, simple enough to follow through. And I have to admit, while I was going through it, I thought, oh, I can do this, and oh, I can do that, because that's how my brain functions. I kind of deviate from the original idea very often. But I kept it simple so that it's manageable for all levels to do. So this is my little project for this month, and it is a photo folio. It's got a 1-inch spine, so let me just see if I'm in shot. Sorry guys, I'm using a new camera, so I have to kind of adjust myself in order to see whether I'm in shot, so forgive me please. Alright, so it's got a 1-inch spine like I said, and it opens up like this. I'm still busy trying to finish this off. I'm not sure whether I want to actually have it in there, so let's just put that to one side. So on the one side you have a waterfall flap, and you are going to hear my family in the background. We are in lockdown, so apologies, you'll have to bear with me, there's many of us here. You open up the waterfall, and this has been specifically made for your standard I think it's 6x4 photographs, so you can literally do this with a minimal amount of paper. So we've got a waterfall there with several places for your photos. I included one of the chippies at the bottom here, and a quote that says "Wild at Heart," and that closes up, and then it opens up here. And what I've done is I have taken this is a 7x5 picture, and that's a standard size photograph, and I just, to create some interest, I added a small pic there. You should be able to get two cropped 150 by or 6x4 photographs on that page. And then it also has a little pocket here. Now I've done it exactly the way Paul has done it. I do however feel that this pocket isn't big enough. It's not, there isn't a lot of gap for much other than two photo mats in here. So I would, if I redo this, I'll probably increase the margins on that and make it a little bit bigger. And then on the other side we've got the same. We've got a little pocket here. So I've got, these are from my offcuts of the actual tutorial. So you need 12 sheets of A4 card, which is not bad, you know, in terms of the amount of pages you get in here. And then this one will open like that. And I have to say, when I saw this paper, the first thing that came to my mind was I'm going to cut into these lines, because this was just perfect. And then of course we have I used some of the borders on the cutout sheet, and then I used the stencil, and I loved the stencil. The stencil is very much me. If I bring it up, I hope, let me see, there we go. It's got some really crazy distressed detail on it, and I love distressed, so I used a lot of it on the cover, which I will go through with you again. And I used it here to create lines for journaling cards, which I thought was quite cool. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I thought it was really nice. Oh, that one probably goes in there. Yes. And then this one goes in here. And these little are also from the cutouts, these little tabs. And then this is one of the chippies that you get if you buy the bulk pack. I left the hearts attached to the word love, and then I painted this with iCraft's new paint that I keep. It is the charcoal black and the bronze, I think, and then I added some crystal clear glitter to the heart. And then on the other side, I used one of the cut-off strips. First think, second believe, third dream, and finally dare. And this is a flap that goes up. Now I want to just explain to you what I did with the flap, because I saw this wavy board and I thought, oh my gosh, it's screaming to be cut into. So that's what I did, and I cut out 3 of the tags on the cutout sheet, but I didn't stick it down completely. I left some gap here. So we've got 2 photo mats made with offcuts from the paper, and then I've got another flap here, and I've still got my pencil marks here where I said cut into lines for tuck spots. I actually leave notes for myself because, you know, when you're assembling, you sometimes tend to forget what you plan to do, and well, me at any rate. And then what happens is I stick down the paper and I realize, oh no, I intended to cut into the lines. Now this is the reverse of this paper here. And my first plan was to use that side of the board, but when I actually put my papers together, it just looked very bland, and I felt I needed that extra pop of pink, so I flipped it and I used the reverse. So I just need to still erase that section there. So that will close, and that's your front section. And then of course on this side, like I said, it also has a pocket there. And then this one will flip open, and then we've got this double layout where this flaps open, and I just want to pull it across so it stays in shot. So I've got a big 7x5 photo mat here, and I used one of the cut off strips. Good things are going to happen. And what I did here was, because it was too long for one side but it was too short for both sides, I actually lined it up with the photo mat there, and I made it end with the photo mat there. So there's almost like some kind of equilibrium going on there. And that closes. And then in here I created just a little bit of a, what do we call this now? Oh, I've lost the word. A cluster from elements on the cutout sheet. And in here, in this pocket, I've got 2 photo mats just with, let's see if I'm in shot, just with elements of the cutout sheet in there. And if you look at this page here, is what I did was I followed through with the paper. So that and that comes from the same sheet of paper, and they actually follow through. I did leave a visual gap there for the border. I just feel personally that gives a much better finish instead of having things all lined up. I think the black border breaks a little bit for the eye, and personally I prefer that. But if you like it the other way with no gaps in between, that's a personal choice. Okay, so this fits in like that. And these also mats are also from my leftovers. from the original paper that we used to assemble the album. And then on this side, I've used two of the cutout elements to create a little tuck spot there. So it's optional. You can put a journaling card in there. I made two photo mats. So I just make it look pretty and stick it in there just to make it look cute. And of course you can put a photograph at the bottom and that on top, because these are removable and you'll still be able to see your picture. And then down here we have one of the cut out sheets, the cut off strips of the sheet. The full one could not fit in here, so I just trimmed it off at the edges, so we've lost part of the arrows there. And then on this side, when you open that, we've got two photo mats here, then just some paper of the offcuts of the bits that I had left over. I try my best not to cut up a full sheet every time. I see where I can fit all my bits and pieces in, and that's what I use before. I'm very what's the word? Die Afrikaanse woord is skimp. Ek sny nie so graag 'n hele 12 by 12 op nie. So I tend to use my leftovers as much as possible. So I have very few offcuts. And then over here I used the stencil, and I used spun sugar distress oxides, and I've got the bundled sage here, which is the green. I used the bundled sage. And I also used bundled sage to edge all my pages and all my elements with. So you can decide to use this as a journaling spot. You can add your photograph, or even just a small picture there will be fine. And then I've left that so that it's not fully stuck down. So you can add a couple of photo mats or journaling cards there as well. Okay. And that is the album that we will be doing on Sunday. I'll be doing a live Facebook Live on the Scrap and Sell site, and hopefully if it works we can do more. So that's the back of my album, and this was particularly my favorite piece of card in this whole range. Oh, and this one too. I think I love them all. So that's my 1-inch spine there. Oopsie, sorry, I'm not in shot. 1-inch spine. And then that's the cover. And what I did with the cover was I created a little cluster here and one at the top. And I cut into the actual paper. So I just grab this quickly. If you look at this page, it is this one here. So I cut into there around the butterfly and around the flower. And I'm sorry, not the flower, the bird. And I reinforced it with craft card underneath so that it holds up to something being pulled in and out all the time. And I used two of the journaling cards. I've left I didn't want to stick it onto black card because I loved the backs. I thought they were just so cool. I like the pink and the brown, or like a dark gray combo. That was really cool. And I did some detail on the little bird here. I added some glossy accents and glitter, and then I have got Enamel Accents, which I bought like yonks ago. I don't use it often. I use it to highlight teddy bear's eyes or buttons or something, and I thought I love these little black elements like little leaves on the paper, but I wanted some more dimension on my cover, so I added the enamel accents there. So that fits in quite nicely over there. So instead of having just a plain old album cover, you now have some interaction here. And then at the bottom I created the cluster, and I know I've said it before, I have 3 different heights of foam tape. So I have a very thin one, a medium and a thick one, And that's what I use to create dimension on my album. So for example, this is stuck down directly with just plain glue. Then the bird will be on the thinnest foam tape, and then this flower will be on the medium size one, and then, you know, I'll use the thicker one. What have I got stuck here? Piece of, oh no, it's got stuck into the glue. And then the highest one I will use here for these, for the top flower. And the little butterflies come in the bulk pack, as well as these elements, that one and that one there. I just wanted to kill the color of the butterfly a little bit, so I didn't want that very bright turquoise here. So I used one of my iCraft paints. It's called Steel Silver, I think. But it just added a very pretty shimmer. And if you all follow me, you'll know that I love my shimmer. And if you see the butterflies, I'm hoping it can pick up on this camera. My son has promised me that this is a better camera than the one I've been using, so we'll see how good it is. I just need to get my distancing and that sorted out. And then inside here, I wanted to create some dimension on the leaves. I don't think it worked as well as I thought it would. So I'm not 1000% happy with it, but it's done. I'm not going to stress about it. And then also on the cover, I created a background with spun sugar and the bundled sage. And then when it was done, it was a bit too in my face bright. Oh yes, I think I used abandoned coral as well. And it was just, the color was just not right for me. So I tried to fix it with one of the browns in the oxide range, and it still didn't work. So I ended up taking watered down white gesso, and I just gessoed the album very lightly, the cover, which for me then the subdued look worked a little bit better for me, because I wanted this to be the focus, not the background. I wanted the background to be muted. So yeah, that's my photofolio. If you are interested in creating one of your own, I will be doing a Facebook Live on Sunday. What's the date on Sunday? It's going to be the 29th of March at 10 a.m. on the Scrap and Sell site. It is going to be my first. I've never done it before, so I do hope that you are going to bear with me, that I won't forget I have an audience watching and I have to keep rambling on and giving direction and speaking about what I'm doing, because, you know, I'm a lone crafter most of the time. So I'm going to try my best and we'll see how it goes. Until next time, see you in cyberspace. Bye now.